Albuquerque police are working to figure out how a baby got onto a one-story balcony, then fell. They responded to the call yesterday at the Jefferson Crossing apartment complex. That's near Montgomery and Jefferson. They say the one-year-old is okay now, but neighbors say the incident gave them quite the scare.
I'm concerned if he's alive and okay. I was talking with a neighbor who actually saw it happen, and she picked up the child and brought the child to the mother.
So police say the boy suffered a cut during that fall. They're now investigating who was supposed to be watching him and whether criminal charges are warranted. A mother claims negligent nurses led to the death of her son while he was incarcerated at a San Juan County prison. Now she's suing the medical staff. The Daily Times reports that an attorney for Olga Salazar filed a complaint saying the March 3rd death of her son, Jesus Marquez, was a result of negligent medical care there. The suit claims that jail guards repeatedly asked medical staff at the San Juan Regional Medical Center to check on Marquez, who was diabetic, and alleges a nurse did not take his condition seriously. The DA for 3 separate counties is leaving her post. Eddie Chavez and Lee County DA Janetta Hicks turned in her resignation letter Saturday. The Roswell Daily Record reports she's stepping aside for personal and financial reasons. The governor will then have to choose her replacement. We'll let you know when that happens. Soon, a life-saving drug will be available to more than just police and first responders. Narcan is an injectable drug used to revive people after they've overdosed on heroin and stopped breathing. New Mexico and a handful of other states are helping to make it available to regular people. Thanks to a law change just last year, it allows pharmacists to write general rather than patient-specific prescriptions for this type of drug. Memorial Day is just around the corner, an opportunity to get away, if only for the weekend, right? It's not a bad time either. With recent rain, some popular lakes around the state are seeing higher levels, but others are still struggling this morning. News 13's Catherine Mazzone checked on them for you. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. I called a number of state parks around New Mexico to see how lake levels compared to last year. I found a trend among lakes on the eastern side of the state versus those in the north and the west. Take Elephant Butte, for example. Levels are up over last year. In fact, state park officials tell me they've started to release water, and that means good conditions for Caballo Lake. Lakes in the eastern plains had better conditions than those in the southwest and northern parts of the state. I checked with our weather team and found it's for good reason. For starters, the eastern plains did well over the winter, receiving a lot of moisture, and in recent weeks, the area saw even more precipitation. That's also the case for places in the southeast, like Tucumcari and Carlsbad. While the same isn't true for the southwest, state park officials say it's still a good time to get out to one of the state's many parks.
I'm challenging every single person who listens to this to go out and spend at least one visit at a New Mexico State Park this summer. Be safe, be prepared, get the information that you need in advance, and if you're out there and you run into any issues, look for one of our rangers.
Now, there are exceptions coming up in our next half hour. I'll break down the numbers for popular vacation spots. Back to you, Crystal.
All right, thanks for the information, Catherine. Now, we are expecting more rain in the coming days, so these levels could change before Memorial Day weekend. Now, getting to those state parks may cost you more than you would like. Gas prices are on the rise just in time for Memorial Day weekend. But by how much? We check those out for you as well. We'll have those prices coming up in our next half hour. A deadly rollover in southern New Mexico. State police say Jose Salazar Quesada was traveling east on I-10 when his tire blew out Saturday. The 71-year-old was just heading east of Lordsburg, New Mexico. Police say Quesada's van hit a median, flipped. He was thrown from that vehicle. He was not wearing a seatbelt. Developing now, a KRQE city just 70 miles west of Baghdad is now under the control of ISIS. This is video that ISIS claims is Iraqi troops fleeing from that city. Iraqi officials say a relentless attack by ISIS fighters left hundreds of civilians and soldiers dead and forced thousands to flee. Secretary of State John Kerry says he's confident about the fight against the Islamic State group, despite the setbacks like the loss of that city. Military officials are investigating this deadly crash this morning. Right now, they say a hard landing caused the crash, killing one Marine, injuring at least 21 others yesterday. The MV-22 Osprey crashed at Bellows Air Force Station in Oahu. Investigators say the aircraft and 2 others were taking part in a training exercise at that time.
We saw all three of them kind of lower, and when it cleared up a little bit, we saw that two came up, and they continued to circle, but there was just two that came back up.
So the military says the Marines involved in this crash left San Diego May 10th for a 7-month deployment to the Pacific Command. No word on the extent of the other Marines that were injured there. Take a look at this. Startling footage out of New Orleans this morning shows a truck slamming right into a house. Wow, the homeowner says she had just been in the room the truck stopped in. She says as soon as she heard the crash, she saw deputies run into her house and guns were drawn. She says the man driving was running from them. This is not the first time something like this has happened, believe it or not, according to other neighbors there. They say they're now working on getting the city to put up barriers around the fences, maybe fences either way. The family whose house was hit says they're now moving. That might be a good idea. Pretty scary stuff there, right? And we start with some overnight news this morning. I-25 southbound at Montano is back open after being shut down for hours last night. Albuquerque police say a pair of motorcyclists were hurt in a crash just before 10. They were both taken to the hospital and are expected to be okay. No information on what caused the crash or if the pair was hit by another driver, but police are not saying alcohol was or was not a factor at this time. A busy portion of Central is back open this morning. It wasn't a crash that caused that shutdown. It's APD's new way to stop cruising. But other drivers say it's just not fair. Every Sunday night, you'll find Central blocked off downtown. Police say it's meant to help quiet down the area for neighbors after they received complaints of drivers weaving in the streets, tire burnouts, and even people pulled over and drinking by cars. But car enthusiasts say don't blame everyone.
They're drinking, doing this or that, you know. There's always gonna be those few bad ones, but there's also a lot of people down there not doing nothing wrong. We're just down there just basically, like I said, showing off our cars.
So overall, cruisers say they hope APD will open up downtown and target those few bad drivers. Memorial Day is only a week away. Many are planning a weekend getaway. We wanted to know which of New Mexico's lakes would be best for boating and fishing. So News 13's Catherine Mazzone made some calls to find out. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. I found a trend with lake levels. Those lakes in the eastern plains were up, while those in the northern New Mexico were not as high. The state park's website shows Brantley Lake, not far from Carlsbad, is seeing excellent boating conditions, as is Santa Rosa Lake out east. But up north, places like Clayton Lake, Story Lake, and Navajo Lake are all ranked fair. Heron Lake even has a poor rating for boating conditions. The southwest didn't see any moisture in recent weeks, but south central New Mexico did. Out east, folks with Sumner Lake say waters are up from last year, so much so it's up over the spillway. They say that does mean camping is limited because of the flooding. Another promising spot is Conchas Lake. It's also up since last year, and the last 2 weeks of rain certainly helped. Plus, officials there say fishing has been especially great this year. Now, one more popular spot is Cochiti Lake. The state website says boating conditions there are excellent. Back to you, Crystal.
All right, thanks, Catherine. Now, we have even more information on all the lakes around the state. Just head to our KRQE News app. And as we quickly approach Memorial Day, you've probably noticed prices at the pump are climbing fast. According to GasBuddy.com, the average price per gallon for New Mexicans is $2.60. That's up almost 35 cents from a month ago. Nationwide, the average price per gallon is up about a quarter over the last month. Experts blame a high demand and higher crude oil prices. People we spoke with, they're noticing the change already.
I live in Berlin and I commute up here usually 5-6 days a week, you know, kind of puts a bite on it.
Your paycheck stays the same, but everything else goes up. It's not good.
So right now, Gas Buddy says the lowest price in Albuquerque is $2.39 a gallon. That's at the Sam's Club in the Northeast Heights. Now, if you want to share, or rather to see where the lowest gas prices are near you, just go to our KRQE News app for a map there. The fight over who can decide who's Albuquerque's next top cop could soon be in your hands, and it could all start with a vote by City Council today. Right now, Mayor R.J. Berry is the only person in charge of picking or getting rid of Albuquerque's police and fire chiefs. There is a proposal on the table right now that could give City Council hiring and firing power over those two top jobs. That's if voters say yes. Today, Council would have to pass the proposal for the question to go before the voters come October. New Mexico's colleges are having a hard time keeping students enrolled. This year, enrollment dropped statewide at a faster rate than anywhere else in the country. According to the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center, student registration in New Mexico dropped by more than 8%. Researchers say the trend is likely tied to a recovering job market and fewer young adults living here. UNM administrators say they saw around a 2% decrease just last year.
This recent year was the first decline in several years, so it had been very stable or growing prior to that, but it did impact us this year.
Now, UNM's not alone. New Mexico State University says it's seen a decline of about 5% each year over the past 2 years. New Mexico remains at the top of the list when it comes to teen births in the country, despite falling numbers. Now, newly released report shows teen pregnancy costs taxpayers around $75 million every year. The Santa Fe New Mexican reports state health officials say that's based on factors like public assistance and child welfare. The report also shows there are no comprehensive standards for teaching sex ed in schools. We turn now to a live look out at New York City this morning, where Amtrak's Northeast Corridor service is expected to pick back up again. The trains will resume service from Philadelphia and New York following last week's deadly derailment. 8 people were killed, more than 200 others were injured when that train went off of the rails there. 3 of the victims' funerals are planned for today. The NTSB is now looking into whether the train's windshield was hit by something or even shot at before the crash. At least 2 other trains reported being hit near that crash site. 9 people are dead, 18 others hurt this morning after a wild shootout in Texas. Police say it happened between rival motorcycle gangs in Waco. Bikers from at least 5 gangs reportedly got together at a restaurant to actually work out problems, but violence broke out in a bathroom, quickly escalating from a fistfight to a gunfight. Police are now questioning dozens of gang members while they continue their investigation. Look at this jaw-dropping surveillance video this morning. It shows a train smashing right into a bus in the Atlanta area last week. You can see passengers right there. They're scrambling to get out of their seats and off the bus, tripping over one another as the train approaches that bus. They're all able to get out, but the driver is still inside when the train hits. You can see he's knocked to the floor right there. Amazingly, he gets up and he was able to walk away with only minor scratches. Now, he was tested for drugs and alcohol and is on administrative leave at this time.